Hello students, today we will learn a new poem called Grandma Climbs a Tree. Grandma Climbs a Tree was written by Ruskin. So it is a poem of a tree and grandmother and a poet. It is full of action of climbing a tree where a poor granny, sorry, a genius granny was wishing to climb a tree and she was wanted to stay in the top of a tree. She wanted to be a comfortable house in top of the tree. So it is a story, this poem which tells about how a grandma learns climbing and how she manages herself when climbing a tree and her habit of climbing, and when though she was an old, how she used to be how she used to behave like a child, we can see in this poem. So this is a very wonderful poem which was written by Ruskin Bond. Ruskin Bond was born in Kasauli in 1934 and he lives in Missouri. He wrote his first novel, which is The Roof on the Roof. When he was 17, he written more than 30 books for children. So when he was 17 years old, he wrote more books, more than 30 books only for children. Grandma Climbs a Tree, which shows the Bone's great ability to enjoy unusual events and actions. So, though his poem we can see, we can know about the enjoy, which was unusual event and a action. So, though learning this poem, we can understand this unusual events and the actions of Granny. In his autobiography, Scenes from a Writer's Life, Bone talks about his Calcutta granny as a strange person who sat alone in the evenings playing patience, a card game. So, this Grandma Climbs a Tree was a poem which was taken from his autobiographical work called Scenes from a Writer's Life, where he wrote, This Grandma Climbs a Tree is about his Calcutta granny, as he introduced here as like a strange person who sat alone in the evenings and playing patience, a card game. So granny used to play a card games and all. This is a little uh, introduction about Ruskin Bond. So we will move on to the poem. Grandma Climbs a Tree. I think you can see the picture, which is a very big tree where we can see on top of the tree a granny and her house. Let's move on to the poem. I will recite the poem. So just take your pencil and point while I am reading, and also underline the words which are difficult words which are new to you. Follow me. My grandmother was a genius. You had like to know why? Because she could climb trees. Spreading or high, she had be up their branches in a trice. And mind you, when last she climbed a tree, she was 62. Ever since childhood, she had this gift for being happier in a tree than in a lift. So here the poet referring that my grandmother. So here my refers to Ruskin Bone. So you need to students, you need to understand that here what are the pronouns will come. For example, I, my, which are known as refers to the poet himself. My grandmother was a genius. So underline the line. Poet's grandmother was a genius. You had like to know why. You wanted to know why? Because she could climb trees, spreading a high. She had been up the branches in the trees, and mind you, when last she climbed a tree, she was 62. Do you know why she is genius? Because she could climb trees. Because being a granny, being a old, she used to climb trees. So because of that reason, a poet calls his granny a genius. Spreading her high, she had been up the branches in the trees, and mind you, when last she climbed a tree, she was 62. Spreading her high. The tree was like a very spreading one. Means it's a very big tree and very tall one. She had been up the branches in the trees. She could climb the tree and she can move overall its spreading, overall its branches very quickly. Trees means quick. And mind you, when last she climbed a tree, she was 62. So when now her age is 62. Ever since childhood, she had this gift. This is she had this gift from his childhood for being happier in a tree than in a lift. So she used to be in a top of a tree. She is very happier when she is in on top of the tree than in lift. So she is more happier when she on top of tree than in a lift. Means she don't want to uh, be in other places. So she used to compare the tree and the lift. Second stanza. I hope you all are following. And though as years went by, she would be told that climbing trees should stop when one grew old, and that growing old should be gone about gracefully. She had often say, well, I'll grow disgracefully. I can do it better. And we had to agree, for in all the garden there wasn't a tree she hadn't been up at one time or another. And though as years went by, so like this, the climbing a trees, the days went by, and she would be told that climbing trees should be stopped when one grew old. So she has a habit from her childhood, but the people, when how she is growing old, the people used to say on her that one should stop, one should stop when one grew old. So when one should be grew old, they should stop climbing a tree, and that growing old should be gone about disgracefully. Why? Why one should stop climbing tree? Because they would be and they will grow very gracefully. Gracefully means very attractively, very politely. She had laugh and say, well, I will grow disgracefully. So on this people's talk, she responds very positively or with a positive attitude. She laughed and said that, well, I will grow disgracefully. So I don't want to be like a gracefully. I don't want to grow gracefully, but I want to grow disgracefully. I can do it better. Why she said like that? Because she has a she is a very courageful lady, so that our Ruskin bond named her as a genius. Okay, she know herself that I can do it better. So Granny said that she can do it very better manner, and we had to agree. So here, this and we had to agree, this line, this sentence was said by writer. So she can do it this better was said by Granny. But here, and we had to agree, this sentence was told by our poet, because he is assuring to all that we need to believe oneself. We need to believe one. We had to agree. For in all the garden there wasn't a tree. Now the Gran is telling that for in all the garden, means in this garden there wasn't a tree. There wasn't a tree she hadn't been up at one time or another. So in this garden there is and there wasn't a tree which she couldn't climb a tree. Having learned to climb from a loving brother when she was 6, but it was feared by all that one day she had have a terrible fall. So this climbing tree, this skill was she learned by her loving brother. She learned from her loving brother when she was 6 years old. So the way she climbs a tree, which shows as she will be fall down, but it was feared by all. So her climbing was feared by all, that one day she had have a terrible fall because she may fall down. The outcome was different while we were in town. She climbed a tree and couldn't come down. So one day what happened is the outcome was different while we were in town. So the result was totally different when the situation was happened when we were in town. So Skinbone and his parents were in town, and that time the granny climbed a tree. Granny climbed a tree and she couldn't come down. She climbed a tree very quickly, very nicely, but she couldn't come down. After the rescue, means anyhow she was safe now. Rescue means without any harm, means free from harm. So without harm, the totally the after the rescue, after this anyhow she come down. The doctor took Granny's temperature and said, so the doctor who took her temperature, who saw her temperature and said, I strongly recommend a quiet week in bed. So what the doctor said, I strongly recommend a quiet week in bed. Means our granny used to stay in bed. We sighed with relief and tucked her up well. Poor granny. For her, it was like a brief season in hell, confined to her bedroom while every breeze whispered of summer and dancing leaves. Anyhow, she calmed down. After the rescue, she was checked by the doctor, and the doctor recommended her that she used to be quite a week in bed. We sighed with relief. Sighed means a very relief manner. All the family members were very relieved, they were sighed with relief. They said that and tugged her up. Finally, she came down, and she was very normal now. Fine, and they took her very carefully that they tucked her up well. Means they used to make they used to take care of granny very well. Poor granny, for her it was like a brief season in hell. So they were maintaining her health. All the family members were very uh, uh, carefully looking up granny, but our granny, she's very poor. She don't want to be in a bedroom and on bed. For her, it was like a brief season in hell. For poor granny, it was being on a bed. It was like a very critical condition to a granny. It looks like a brief season in hell. So according to poet, according to granny, it was a brief season of in hell. Confined to her bedroom, while every breeze whispered to summer and dancing leaves. So it was a very brief season in hell, which was confined to her bedroom. Means she was like bordered to be stay in bedroom. On that time, the situation, the environment is totally like a while every breeze whispered of summer and dancing leaves. So it was a season of summer. We can have a glance of summer season. In the summer season, we all are wishing to be under the tree because of this breeze. Every breeze whispered of summer and dancing leaves. Because of this breeze, she was wishing to be under the tree and on the top of the tree. But she used to be on the bed. Next stanza. But she had held her peace till she felt stronger. Then she sat up and said, I will lie here no longer. And she called for my father and told him undaunted that a house in a treetop was what she now wanted. My dad knew his duties. He said, that's all right. You will have what you want, dear. I will start work tonight. But she had held her peace till she felt stronger. So after the rescue, she was a kind of nervous of being a old. Her physical condition is a little bit will with changes. Due to that, she felt very now she is very peacefully until she felt stronger. Until she is very peaceful until she will be strong. Then she sat up and said, I will lie here no longer. What she said, I don't want to be here. I can't lie on the bed. I can't stay on bed. And she called for my father and told him undaunted. So what the granny done, she called my father. Means the granny called poet's mother. Poet's mother means Ruskin Bone's father. She called poet's father and said that undaunted means without any hesitation she told that a house in a treetop was what she now wanted. So she said that I want a tree house in the top of tree, and that is I wish. My dad knew his duties. So after saying the granny, even the writer's father knew his duties. He said that that's all right. The father answered, okay, mother, you will have what you want, dear. So he answered, "Okay, my dear, you will have what you wish, what you wanted to have. I will start work tonight." So what he said that I will start my work, I'll start my duty from tonight, from that night. Next, last stanza. With my expert assistance, he soon finished the chore, made her a tree house with windows and a door. So Granny moved up, and now every day I climb to her room with the glasses and tray. She sits there and straight and drinks sherry with me, upholding her right to reside in a tree. With my expert assistance, my here refers to poet. So, with the poet's assistance, expert assistance, the father continued and started his work, his duty. He soon finished the chore. The father finished her chore. Chore means task. Father soon finished his work, his task. Made her a tree. He made her a tree house with the windows and a door. The father made a tree house to her mother, to his mother, with a tree house with the windows and a door. So Granny moved up. What she done? She moved up, and now every day I climb to her room with glasses and tree. So yeah, the poet um, said that the granny was moved up, and he used to go uh, go to the granny with glasses and tray. I climbed to her room with the glasses and tray. She sits there in a street and drinks sherry with me. She used to be sit and street, and they used to share the drinks. Which type of drinks? Sherry, which was a yellow and brown colored wine. They used to share their drinks. Sherry with poet means they both are sharing the sherry. Upholding her right to reside in a tree. Why the granny was straight? She sits straight because even she had a feeling of upholding her right. She holded her right to reside in a tree. Now the granny was very happy. Granny was very happily residing in a treetop treetop house. Here the poem ends. Dear students, if you have getting a confusion, then you can once again go up with the reading very clearly and very slowly, then you can get the what the poet wanted to tell you. Thank you.